What's up, guys? Learn how to be a Superman. Superman is the man, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What's up, guys? It's Saturday, December 28th, 2024. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 876,798 as of this recording. As of this recording as well, the Bitcoin price is $94,900. And for $1, guys, one measly dollar, you can get yourself a hold of 1,054 Satoshis. And yes, I said it, for $1. My goodness, guys, welcome back to another episode of Satoshi Saturday, the official Satoshi Saturday. This time it is number 46. I said 46 last week, it was 45. But I had another video planned today. You know, I had it all thought out and everything else, but then something happened. The universe talked to me today, and I'm free, you know what, in this video. So I'm just gonna speak from my heart. But this afternoon, I watched my favorite movie, and I think I gave you a little hint what that movie was. And if someone asks you what your favorite movie is, and the first thing that pops in your mind is that movie, or you think about your childhood, is probably, you know, that movie. And my favorite movie of all time, hands down, is Superman. Superman 1 and 2. But specifically, I watched Superman 1 today. Now, I watched it in full, not just clips. I watch clips all the time of Superman. You know, I love Henry Cavill. I think he was a great Superman. Brandon Routh was a really good Superman from Superman Returns. Superman and Lois. You know, I wasn't the biggest Superman fan in the world as far as like everything Superman, right? I wasn't that kid. The movie came out in 1978. I was born January 1975. So I was 3 years old when that movie came out. Now, I didn't see it when it first came out. I think I saw it when I was 5 or 6, either 80 or 81. I didn't see it at the movie theater. I saw it at my house, at my grandparents' house. I was laying on the floor, and we had the TV, and we had the rug and everything. And I remember I just could not get enough of that movie, man. And again, I wasn't the biggest Superman fan in the world. I was just Christopher Reeve Superman fan, super fan. I absolutely loved that guy, man. And going back and watching that movie today, really just watching it from start to finish, I noticed a lot of things. First of all, me personally, about my own personality, I took a lot of personalities from Clark Kent and Superman, right? I consider myself a decent guy. Now, I've done some bad stuff in my life, of course, but I've today, some of the things that Clark Kent was saying, like, excuse me, miss, and pardon me, and stuff like that, just the way he says it, and even Superman says it, I say those things. And I learned that was like my baseline of the guy who I wanted to be like the most. You know, later on when I got older, it was Michael Jordan, but when I was a kid, you couldn't tell me nothing about Superman and Christopher Reeve. He was just a man to me. But now I'm on the cusp of being 50 years old in less than 30 days. My birthday is January 19th. And, you know, I'm a Bitcoiner. You guys are Bitcoiners. And you see the world different, you know. We all know that the number one movie in comparison, in contrast, are the most things that we can see in a movie when it comes to being a Bitcoiner. There's several of them, but the most one is obviously The Matrix. For me, The Matrix is just like, wow, right? But I got to tell you, man, you watch Superman 1, and then when you get a chance, watch that movie, man. If you got some kids, especially you, Patrick, with your son, if you haven't done it already. All you guys out there, all you kids, take some time, either this weekend or this week, and watch Superman 1, 1978 version with Christopher Reeve as a Bitcoiner, and you'll see some stuff. Now, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I'm pretty sure after, what's it been? 1978, so 40-something years, right? 48 years, is it? Anyways, 47. You guys are yelling at the screen. What is it, 2024? 46 years, be 47 next year. You're going to see some personality. So let's start from the beginning, right? I'm going to tie this all into Satoshi's, obviously. This is Satoshi Saturday. So you have Jerryn, who is Superman's dad, his real father, on Krypton. He was telling, he locked away 3 very, very bad people, right? And it got me to thinking about the evildoers here today with politics and the criminals in the central banks and everything else. And, he locked those guys up. And these 3 dudes, General Zod and the girl and the big dude, Nod, were, those 2 were his kind of like henchmen. But General Zod was like, he was like a dictator. He wanted to take over the world. He was a really, really bad guy. And Jerryn was getting ready to pass judgment on him, and the other judges said guilty, guilty, guilty. You remember that part? And it was all on Jerryn's time to say guilty. And then Zod said, "It's up to you, Jerryn. What do you say? You're a rebel," meaning he thinks outside of the box like we do, because he did. You can tell later on when he was talking to the council and everything else that he was telling about the planet blowing up. He was a rebel, but again, he had common sense because he was telling the truth. Jerryn, Superman's dad. And General Zod said, "Well, why don't you just say forget it? This vote is on you. If you sentence me to, in that little glass thing and go away forever, it's going to be up to you. But you can make the choice and join me and only be second to me and stuff like that." And obviously, Jerryn chose the first one. And he, the thing started coming in the glass, and then General Zod started screaming, "I'm going to make sure you pay for this, you and your heirs," and blah, blah, blah. Then he got tossed away. So he picked the good side. He didn't pick the evil side, okay? Then, next scene, Jerryn was telling his councilman, I guess he was being a rebel like us, or being the odd man out like us, with politics and central banks and all this other stuff, that how we think and everybody else doesn't, watching the mainstream media. He's telling them, he goes, "Look, this is going to be the end of our planet. This planet is going to blow up and it's going to be no more." And they didn't want to hear it. None of them on that panel or that Congress or whatever it was in Krypton. Get it? Krypton, crypto. And his dog's named Crypto too. Not in the movie though. And Jerryn was like telling them, and they're like, "Oh, you're being irrational." And he said, "When have I ever been irrational? I'm speaking to you with common sense and rationality." And then they say, "Well, listen," this is the guy said, he goes, "Listen." And all of them went to one side, basically saying, we're all on this side, basically saying, we don't think the crypto is going to explode, and you're the only one that does. And what you will not do, Jerryn, is go out here and cause panic. Basically, you're going to keep the narrative the same. Krypton's orbit is just shifting a little bit. There's nothing going on here, nothing to see, right? Just like the mainstream media, just brainwashing everybody. So Jerryn made a promise, because he doesn't lie and doesn't not keep his promises. So he stood there by himself on one side while everybody else is over there. And he said, "Okay, I promise that me and my wife will not leave the planet." And that right there hit me hard, because obviously he knew he was right and he knew the planet was going to explode. So he didn't lie about it. He told the truth, but he knew what he was doing. He was sacrificing himself for his son, because he knew that, Krypton was gonna explode. He wasn't a rebel. He just said, okay. And then he made his promise. And then he started making preparations for his son to leave. What a sacrifice, man. What a sacrifice he did, right? He knew he was going to die. He knew it. And of course, as a Bitcoiner, I'm just sitting there watching that, and I'm like, wow. And I started crying a few times during that movie, several times, because I'm a Bitcoiner, and also it reminded me of things when I was a kid and my grandmother, and it's just very emotional, man. This is why I think I'm making this video right now. And so Jerryn went back to his lair, him and his wife. The next scene, you see his wife holding the baby, the red, yellow, and blue, colors, and everything else was all white and crystal, but the baby was wrapped in those Superman colors. And Jerryn had the S on his chest too. So it didn't stand for Superman, for, their thing. It was just everybody had an insignia on their chest. And so when Jerrell got back, you know, he's preparing the crystal ship for his son because he knows the world is going to crash and burn. He knows it. And his wife was talking to him, basically saying, hey, you know, what are we going to do? And they said, we're going to send him to Earth. You know, why Earth? It's so primitive, you know, because Earth compared to Krypton was thousands of years, you know, light years away and thousands of years behind in technology. And he said, well, that'll be his advantage, right? He'll be way ahead of everybody else. And that just got me thinking, boy, you know, that and many other things that, you know, our children that we're getting prepared for right now, or getting them prepared. If you're not getting prepared, you need to. This is the point of this video. You know, these Satoshis ain't, I'm not saying we're not going to benefit off this stuff and stuff like that. And again, it depends how old you are. You could be a young person watching this, you know, but we tend to think in our lifetimes, and it just doesn't work like that, guys. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. You know, we got 80 years, give or take, plus or minus, again, 15 years or so. You know, you may live to 65, you may live to 95. Anywhere in between that, you're pretty lucky, man. I know, and you know, a lot of people that have died before that. So 80 years is my thing. Now, again, I plan on living to be 125 because I told you the technology and everything else, and maybe you will too, who knows? See this whole century play out. But for those of us mere mortals that are only going to live 80-something years, 60-something years, 70, 80, 90 years, or whatever, our time is going to end. And Satoshi's and Bitcoin's adoption is going to take maybe decades, who knows? Even if the price is just going crazy next year in 2025 and we hit $1 million, like a lot of people think we are when the SBR comes out and the game theory plays out where all these other countries are buying, hey, you never know, you know? And so back to the movie, Jerrell was so calm, right? When everybody else was screaming and hollering, he did this long speech to his son, you know, and of course his son couldn't understand it. He was just a baby. You know, he's just a baby. We just telling him, I'm passing everything, all my life, everything I know to you, son. Because that's what we do, man. We pass it on to our children. You know, boy, that was emotional, right? Is that not? Thinking about your children and you know you're going to die and you're never going to see your children again or whatever. He was just so brave, man, you know. And then he put him in the thing and he gave him that speech and off he went, you know. And meanwhile, the planet is just crashing and burning. And all those people that said Jerrell was stupid and he didn't know what he was talking about and he's being irrational, now they're running for cover. And him and the wife, you know, they were trying to run for cover too, but it was futile. It was just over. And after a few minutes, obviously the planet exploded. You know, the red sun blew it up. And meanwhile, his son is in the ship flying away. And because they're thousands of light years away, obviously the technology is fast, so I guess he got there, and it took thousands of years to get there, I think. But for him, maybe it took 3.5 years. I don't know how that works, but because later on, Jerrell, when he talked to Kal-El, Clark or Superman, he said, "You're 18 now, but in your years, but in my years, I've been dead for thousands of years." And so, meanwhile, while he's flying through space, he's learning all this stuff that his dad taught him, and it made me think about us, right? You know, we're making videos, we're documenting stuff while we're doing all these things we're learning in the beginning stages of this incredible technology. It's just crazy. Can you imagine watching videos or learning from someone that when electricity first came out, or the locomotive, or I know the internet, we knew that and stuff like that, but this transforming, paradigm shifting technology, that's what's going on right now, whether you know that or not. That's what's going on, guys, okay? Meanwhile, Superman lands, and he's got all these special powers, just like your kids will have special powers over everybody else when you adopt Satoshis before everybody else, right? So he crash lands with the Kents. You know, real good family, older family. But in the beginning, he saves the car, you know, the tire blew up. I don't want to tell the whole movie, but the tire blew up, and the little kid, you know, lifted the car up. And they're like, wow, not only did this kid just come from space, but he's got special powers. So what the dad told Clark to do his whole life, because he was like 3 years old when he got there, was to not show anybody your powers. Don't show anybody. And that's tough, man. That's tough when you can do all those things that Clark or Kal-El could do. And his dad said, don't do it. And he did a little things here and there. You guys remember what he did on the football field, kicking the football. And then, you know, he liked this one girl, but he couldn't take her out because of the, you know, he had to clean up the equipment. And again, he was working for a football team as the manager, the equipment manager. But again, like he said in the movie, he could pick up a football and score every single time, right? He just didn't understand why he couldn't use his power. But his dad said something very, very profound. And he said, I don't know why you're here, son, but you are here for a reason. You are here for a reason. And every time I hear that, it hits me hard as hell, man. And it used to hit me a different way when I was a kid, or my 20s, 30s, even 40s. But now, as a Bitcoiner, I know we're here for a reason. All the things that you're learning about today and sacrificing today is going to be for the next generation. Whether you have kids or not, you know, you may have nieces, nephews, whatever, grandkids, whatever. And Superman, Kal-El, Clark Kent, had to hide his powers till he was 18 years old. These are your kids or your nieces, nephews, or whatever. All that knowledge that you accumulated, you're going to pass down to them. And then once his father on Earth passed away, Mr. Kent passed away, he turned 18, and he started hearing noises, and he knew that he had to go. And his mom said, I knew this day would come. And he went north to the North Pole. He had that green stick, maybe a cold card, right? And he threw it. Then the Fortress of Solitude was built. And that's where he stayed for the next 12 years. He did. He learned something new every single year, because it takes a long time to learn this. And he learned about the history of Krypton and his planet and everything, you know, and Earth and all this other stuff. And then that's when he became a grown man. He became Superman. And now he can finally show his powers. And he met Lois Lane at the Daily Planet, revealed himself to, you know, when he saved her, and the rest was history. That's a metaphor for us, guys. It really is. That hit me so hard, man. So hard. And again, you are here for a reason. Your children are here for a reason. Grandkids are here for a reason. Whoever. I don't know what's going to happen in the short term, right? 2025. When we talk about price predictions and all this other stuff, we're just thinking in small terms, guys. You know, we got to think in every 4 years. Even then, it's still short when it comes to adoption and what this thing's going to do as a paradigm shift and a technology absolute marvel that it is, that it's going to change the world. It's going to take longer than 1 or 4 years, guys. It is. And I know we're here, some of us here, we wanted the number to go up and everything, and that's all fine. But you got to work every single day, not only to accumulate as much, but to study as much so you can pass it on to the people that are going to pass it down to other people. You are here for a reason. And we got to work and study this thing. Because the more you study, the more you can teach and pass down. Because remember, once taught, twice learned. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, guys, listen, I always say this at the end, you know, your family's going to thank you and they're going to build statues of you, and all that's true. All that's true. But the sacrifice Jerrell did when he knew, you know, his planet was dying and nobody believed him, you know, the things that you're doing today, that nobody believes you, that the dollar's dying. Nobody believes that. You know, they think you're insane for saying that, right? They think you're insane for saying that you're losing your freedoms and, you know, they're taking away your life, because that's what they're doing when they print money out of thin air with no work and no accountability. That's what they're doing. But you got to get out here no matter what and teach and learn as much as you can. You really do. You really do. So long story short, guys, if you guys want to be this guy in your family, because again, no politician, no central banker is going to come and help you and save you. You guys know that. You know, even though we talk about it and we need to learn it and everything else, and, you know, we go for this politician or that finance guy, nobody's going to be in in your family this person except for you. And the ultimate sacrifice you're paying today, not going out and not drinking your favorite lattes or all the stuff that you could be doing having fun. Instead, you're home studying, and then you're stacking. And that's the moral of the story, guys. So long story short, if you want to be like Superman, keep doing what you're doing so you can pass it down to your children. And remember, guys, stack Satoshis today, guys, today. So you and your family don't have to work for those exact same Satoshis tomorrow. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.